Hey everybody, it's Gaye Ann Bruno here at Between the Sheets podcast at the UBN United Broadcasting Network here in the lovely city of Burbank. I love the city of Burbank because I live here. Oop, too much information. You can call us at 323-524-2599. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's QTE Brat. And then we have the YouTube page, Between the Sheets with me. And we have lovely people in the house tonight. I know we've been gone. I will bring you quickly up to date. I was stranded in Toronto out of a perfect record of not getting COVID. I finally got it, and I had to be stuck in Toronto for 12 days. Luckily, it only felt like a sinus infection, but everything was good, thank God. But I've been traveling a lot, so hopefully, we are going to be doing it 2 times a month moving forward, but we're playing a hopscotch as to what dates we're on. So I'm not going to say we're on the 1st and 3rd because I'd be lying, quite frankly, right now because I don't even know what day we're in, and I know we're going to come back next week. So it's all just screwed up. If you want to call us again, it's 323-524-2599, and we'll go around the table with my lovely ladies this evening. So we will start with my friend who is in studio.
Oh.
Sheena Metal.
Hi, guys. How are you? And look, I have hair that looks like I just spent 2 hours in rush hour traffic only for you, Gaye Ann.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. See, you moved so damn far away.
Yeah. I currently live in Huntington Beach, and I'll tell you I live there because people are too lazy to drive all the way to stalk me.
It is too far.
It's too far.
It is too
That's
far.
it. Stalkers right now are like, oh, never mind. It's too far. She can just say, okay. It's good to see you.
You too. And then we have Mara Shane.
Hello. It's great to be here. I've missed being here in studio so much.
Have you?
Yeah, it's great to be
Have
here.
you? Mara always texts me or calls me and says, "Can we catch up? Can we catch up? I miss you." I said, "I miss you too."
I do.
I miss you terribly.
It's hard. It's
a horrible thing.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. It shouldn't be.
But today is great because we're all here. It's a full house.
I
here.
know.
You know.
I'm going to skip our guest for a moment. I'm going to go back to the end, and we have Ronnie Loaiza.
Hi, Ronnie Loaiza, life coach here, and I'm so happy to see everybody's. And Sheena, you're our friend. I'm bogarting on the friendship too. I know. I met you through. I met you through Gaye Ann.
Yes, absolutely.
So we all know each other now. And
everybody's my friend here.
And we came off Zoom and came in here, so I'm really happy. When Gaye Ann said, "Come on in," I'm like, "Yeah, I want some human hugs."
Yeah, it's so weird to see you. Are you like a mirage? You look like a holograph? I'm so used to both you on the Zoom.
Well,
Should I wear a box that just frames my face and sit in the corner?
I thought you were just a head.
That's it. That's all. If only.
And then we have Tony, Tony Sweet here,
Hi,
working with us as always.
Hello.
And as I remember, I did this show long ago. It was with me, Terry Nunn, and Martha Davis, and the sound guys would always be, a guy. They would always be guys, and Terry would always say, remember what she'd say? "Oh, the only dick in the room." And
now I don't think you can say
checked?
stuff like that.
Unless someone's wearing one, which is not uncommon.
Which is not uncommon. But that brings me to our guest tonight, Isabel Gallardo. I don't know, we met on Facebook. Like most people, I mean, I really do know certain people in person, but Isabel was one of those people who I met through someone who was a guest on the show. And after that, we'll talk about that if we choose to later. But then I reached out to Isabel. She reached out to me. Then we started a Facebook friendship, which means I haven't met you yet, but we exchanged phone numbers. So we're the next level of friendship. And then I know that Sheena had Isabel on her show.
Sure.
And, because my schedule has been so crazy, Isabel has been on the list. But, I think we canceled it a few times because I got sick or this happened or that's happened. So I'm finally glad that you made it to Between the Sheets, and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. And yes, Sheena and I are friends socially, so it's good to see you. And I
Nice
also
to
come
see you.
from Huntington Beach.
Yes. You
Right.
guys should have just carpooled.
Oh, I shouldn't have told Isabel I lived in Huntington Beach because now she'll stalk me.
Oh, yes, that's it. And Mara and I chat, and, we've had some heartfelt conversations.
The first time I actually get to meet you in person.
It's
I'm
nice
so
to meet you,
excited, and
ladies,
it's so great.
Yes, in person.
So now it's considered a real friendship. So
Exactly.
it's like Facebook friending, then messengering on Facebook, exchanging of phone numbers,
Right.
maybe or maybe not having a conversation, but continuing, but then texting versus Facebook messengering, leading
Right.
to at some point meeting in person.
Who knows? There may be food involved in the future.
At some point.
Oh, there must
so
be.
You're Hispanic, Isabel Gallardo.
Yes, I'm first generation. My family comes from Chile.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. She's from Ecuador, so we were just talking a little bit of Spanish.
I speak fluent.
You
Just
do?
so you-
Podemos hablar de ella, pero.
No, you cannot. And that is why I learned Spanish at a very age, because I grew up in the New Jersey version of Little Havana. And
Cubana. Okay.
if I speak Spanish, I speak very Cubanese.
Es más cubano.
Cubanese.
Cubanese. Because it was like sink or swim with these bitches, and no one's going to talk shit about me, so I'm going to just...
The Cubans are tough. They're some of my favorite people.
Yeah, well, my ex for 18 years was Cuban. Wow. That was, and then my first long term was Costa Rican. Then went from Costa Rican to Cuban, and then white girls. And then I realized, I got to stay away from white girls. They're
worse.
Well, it's apples.
They're different.
It's different. It's like apples and oranges. You know, it's sort of like Latins, Italians, even Jews for that matter, Europeans. And I'm not making like a blanket statement. Just
correct.
My whole thing.
Your experience.
My experience is there's like familia, family is very important. The huggy, the touchy, the feely, and a lot of women who are white and emotionally unavailable. I have never heard
Sheena.
I have never in my life heard a Latina say to me, "I'm emotionally unavailable." What the fuck? Never. Like, that's like I'm emotionally unavailable. Three white girls.
There are some cultural differences. I also find that there are some conversational differences depending on who it is, but the education, the differences in terms of experiences. I, again, don't want to make generalizations, but I find that some of my experience in the Latin community have been that they are a little bit more well-read, more well-traveled. And again, I don't, I love all my friends.
But there was a drawback. I will have to say, and I will publicly say that, 2 out of the 3 white girls, one of them, I was dating them. They weren't dating me. But the other two, I love them. It was just that there was just such a dichotomy of differences and upbringing and raising, and I just didn't get it. They're very beautiful, wonderful people. They're still in my life today.
We have a lot of fire.
I do.
But you know what? It's funny because now we're stereotyping.
I know.
I just had this conversation with this panel last week about how I have a friend who was coming up from San Diego. Oh, do you know a really good Mexican restaurant? I'm like, I actually don't. I'll have to ask somebody. My parents were Ecuadorian. I lived in Venezuela. I grew up in Florida with Los Cubanos and rich Cuban girls who were Catholic in an all-girls school. So my experience is different. I just said, I really don't know. Well, somewhere, it's really authentic Mexican. I really don't know. I don't eat Mexican. You don't? And I was like, no, I love Mexico. I love all people. So it's not that. It's just the stereotypes. Like, you don't eat hot food?
Yeah.
You don't eat Mexican
The
food?
Central
It's like,
American
no.
culture is completely different
Completely
than South
different.
American and
Because
Cuban.
everybody groups Latinos
Right.
into one
Right.
big lump.
And this was a white girl, who was saying this.
Of
Like,
course.
You don't?
And like, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I always sit there and I try and I try and educate more than I do
In a nice way.
in a nice,
nice
way.
way. Of course.
In a
Of
nice way, I
course.
educate. But and then there's not anything great about that whole culture either. Latins, Italians, Europeans, because then you've got the jealousy, the role playing,
sticky.
all that stuff. I don't know
How did we get to the word sticky? What are we talking
Well,
about?
I just mean it's like opening a box of
reality.
of reality.
It's opening up a box of reality.
Yeah.
It's
There's a lot of color here.
Wait a minute. Who's jealous? The white girls?
No.
White
no,
girls
the
are jealous
Latins.
too. No,
Are
a
they?
white girl will cut you for sport.
Oh, seriously?
That doesn't even have to be a reason. I would imagine at least a nice Latin girl cut you for a reason. I'm all about
Sheena
that.
and I have had this conversation.
Yeah. A white
Remember,
girl
Lorena Bobbitt was Ecuadorian. I'm just saying.
Well, okay.
But there is, look, I think if you get to that point in a relationship, and we'll start with this, and I think I don't even know if I've mentioned it on the show because I haven't been here in so long, but I've had conversations that, we all have, we get into relationships And it's one thing. It's all about trust. I believe you have to have trust in a relationship.
I agree.
But I believe we have it ass backwards, meaning we get into a relationship and we automatically don't trust them. They have to prove themselves.
Not for me.
Well,
or for
Well, that's
me,
because
unfortunately.
I haven't really ever had a real relationship, so that's why I'm not jaded.
but I see a lot of people where they enter in it or with their baggage that they bring to the table. So it's baggage. It's not like you're born this way. Your baggage brought into the table. So, if you were hurt or whatever, then you don't trust the next relationship. Versus the healthy way is, if you do it, is trusting. You automatically trust. It's kind of like that legal thing. Innocent until proven guilty.
In my humble opinion, from my years of experience at personal and public failure in relationships, I had to turn that finger inward and learn to set those boundaries within myself and trust myself. And until I was able to do that, I didn't learn how to trust someone else. And I think until you're able to do that, you can't really learn how to trust someone else. Do things come up? Absolutely. And you have that conversation as you learn that emotional intelligence with someone. Sure. Do you go to therapy? Of course you do. Do you listen to podcasts and read some books and have conversations with your friends, with the right friends? Of course you do. And there's going to be mistakes that are made, and you're going to ask for, understanding from your partner. But I really think that we have to start to build that relationship with ourselves.
I agree 100% because, as I said before, it's the person with experience and stuff coming into the relationship with the baggage. So unless you work on yourself and you work through that, then you can't really grow yourself.
When I teach spiritually, I talk a lot about how there are like 4 really important relationships that we have, right? There's your relationship with you, which should be the most important. Then there's your relationship with whatever your higher power is. Even if it's nothing, it's just believing in goodness. And then there's your relationship with the world, like where do you fit in, where do you belong, what's your place here? And the least important is your relationships with other people, because you can't get there till you build the other 3. Most people do it backwards.
Yep.
Other people, other relationships, what they think, that validation comes first.
And that gives you confidence.
What does the world think of me? Am I doing the right thing? Am I famous? Are people looking at me, noticing me? That's second. Number 3 is, does God hate me? Am I accepted? And am I loved by spirit? And then the last one is always, oh yeah, and maybe I'll take, half a second and spend it on myself.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's how we get messed up.
You make me think the word, and you as well, to look inward. We were talking about a client of mine in coaching about the word confidence. Does confidence come after all the validation and all the success, or on the way there?
On the
So,
way.
okay, are you going to get that self-confidence once you prove it? And when you look at the word confidence, it comes from fidelity, confianza.
Right.
Well, we finally funnel it down to, how are you going to be confident without proof? Is it faith or is it hope? Faith. How do you have faith from an intangible? How do you know, like, I know no matter what, like your mother, Gaye Ann, you had faith in your mother's love. It's like love. You can't prove it, you just feel it. You know it. You have faith. It's not you hope she loves you.
No.
You had faith that she loved you. So how do you have faith in yourself? How do you have you're faithful to yourself? Confianza, confidence. If you're faithful to your
We're
purpose.
having a Spanish lesson today as well.
No, but if you're faithful to yourself, well, what is my purpose and what is it that I want? Am I being faithful to myself? That is confidence. You're embodying confidence. But people don't look first for themselves. They look
Right.
at all the outside validation.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't that what society sort of breeds?
We breed society.
Society breeds that. So from a very young age, this is what we're being brainwashed into believing. So we've spent 40 years, 50 years. I mean, I'm going to be 59, almost 60. I'm not yet 100% to the point where I say I don't fucking care. I'm not.
I would agree.
When I'm 70, like anybody I know that's 70, they don't fucking care anymore. They don't
Yeah.
give a shit.
Yeah.
They got maybe another 15, 20 years left. But you're right. It should be the opposite. You should not give a shit from the start. So you have all these decades, to experience things. I have gotten to the point where it's like I used to worry. I think like we all do. I used to worry about, if people liked me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, do people like me? Am I likable? And you walk on eggshells sometimes because you don't want someone to dislike you. Well, you have to really look at the point of, and validation and what's my value. And that's a hard thing for me to unlearn, and I'm doing it in therapy now.
Takes time.
It's, people should value you for you.
Yeah.
Not what you do for them, what you bring for the table, whatever. They should just appreciate you as you are.
Yeah.
Your circle gets smaller.
Yes.
That I've noticed.
Yes.
That I have noticed.
and you have to be okay with that.
Right.
Exactly.
Well-
and
oh.
sorry, just one last thing.
Yeah,
My
go
mother
ahead.
used to say, if you can count your close friends on one hand, as whatever in life, you are very lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was just gonna say I'm doing therapy a lot. I do therapy once a week, and I can't believe how much of the personality is formed within those first 5 years, and how impactful. There's the nature versus nurture, and how incredibly impactful it is when you are raised with your dynamics of your parents and how you were raised. It really.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And would you talk to your 3-year-old self would you talk to a 3-year-old the way you talk to yourself now?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I wouldn't. I think we just get shaped along the way, but like I'm trying to figure out a lot of the way I interact with people and not take things personally.
That's
and
a hard one.
Yeah, and being able to understand someone else is dealing with a completely different perspective and reality.
But the
In
thing is,
reality,
we
yeah.
also come from the I and the ego. We come from the I and the ego. And I'm the biggest offender that I take things personally. I am sensitive. Someone does something. I don't think about why they did it, why they're doing it. I just realize, well, I don't care what that fucking is. And you're going to listen to how it affects me. This is just not cool. And again, I found a new therapist and someone that's happens to be, lesbian, which is rare. I didn't even know that. I just picked her, but she's not. But she understands that part because in the LGBT, LMNOP, QXYZ community, we have different issues than a straight relationship. I mean, the basics of there, you marry, but the dynamics are different. But I have to say, I was out to brunch last weekend. I don't remember. Whenever it was not when I was in Toronto, and we were talking, and we were talking about like self-image, and being emotional and being compassionate, and that really all stems, as you said, in the formative years. So, I grew up in a really healthy, safe, loving environment. So my perception of things is so skewed that when I have friends that come from the complete opposite, which they can't relate to me and my background, I can't relate to them.
That's interesting because what I'm gathering from all this is as an adult, we really have to shift our mindset and our perspective. And although I came from a great background in Marin County, nice family, it was not a safe environment. And I really had to learn to reparent myself. And as an adult, I've had to adjust my mindset and my perspective, not only because of what I saw and learned growing up, but because of how the world treated me and the experiences that I've had. And I think that as an adult, we really have to take all of that into consideration and take some of those things and make that adjustment in terms of.
I think that that it's funny because therapy is exhausting a lot of the time when you really start to get when you really start to get into it, and I think that that the person has to be so miserable with things not working out, or just you've got to be at your
You're
breaking
right, Mara.
point to get to. I mean, I sought therapy because I wanted to know about myself. I've always been in therapy, but like on and off sporadically. But I upped it because of trying to deal with people that were close to me in my life, and just trying to have my own power back and not see myself through their eyes of me, but I wanted to sort of be able to be strong enough to make my own decisions about who am I, and it's eye-opening.
But I venture to say, a lot of people don't think that they're powerful, and you already are. This blob that's Mara, this beautiful blob. You're already. That's who you are. That's what you are. That's what you bring with you.
It's
I
all
know,
about
it's
energy.
Oh yeah, there's no victim here.
No, I
no,
know.
no,
We also
yeah.
live
And so
in a culture that's very like what have you done? What do you do?
But
Right,
that's
but that's
but-
passive.
But that's passive. That we, whoever,
Yeah.
are allowing that
exactly.
to affect our behavior, affect our
That's
looks.
also a little bit about where we live, right? We're in LA, so we have to understand that that's a little bit about the culture
well, yeah,
here.
we're in a definite
we're in a,
statusy place.
we are we're in a tough place.
And sometimes that works against you, because if you're a person that does do a lot and has done a lot, so you don't have to feel guilty when you're asked that question, then people are mad at you because you've done a lot.
Right.
Then it's, well, who do you think you are, and why do you think you've done this?
Well,
and it's like, because you know what? When you went to Cabo, I stayed here and helped people and worked.
Right, because that's the thing. It's
That was
sort
my
of-
choice.
Exactly. It's oh God, I had a thought and it fucking went out my menopausal went out of my menopausal head. But you're absolutely right in that. Is that people bitch and moan a lot. The jealousy, the insecurity,
lot.
the low self-esteem, the fear. I mean, the not trusting, and look, that my mind sometimes is a terrible place to be. That's why I like to keep busy, because otherwise this shit, and it's like I can't talk to my therapist every fucking day. I go broke.
Go for a walk.
Exactly. But you try and channel it. But it's like, for me, I agree with you. I make my choices. I am successful. Okay, I am, and I knock on wood and in gratitude every day that I am successful on a lot of things, and not just being on this podcast.
Correct.
Not DJing.
Correct.
Not working at the network for 33 years. I am a successful person, and no one, not a one person is responsible for that but me.
Yep. Be
Mara,
proud.
you don't have to give your resume to anyone, and you are successful, whether or not that shoe gets to Jennifer Aniston or not. I want to hear about how that went with Margaret Cho, by the way.
Well, actually, thanks to Gaye Ann, she is friends with Margaret Cho, and we had Margaret Cho on the show. Gaye Ann had her on the show. I was there with Margaret and Gaye Ann back in 2019, and Gaye Ann is friends
The
with her
before
publicist. Yeah, the before COVID, before all that. And Gaye Ann is friends with Margaret Cho's publicist, who I sent the shoes that I designed. I made a pair of these high heels all
They're
around.
awesome.
Thank you. All around Margaret Cho's dog, Lucia, because she always takes Lucia everywhere, and she brought Lucia here to the show. And so I just went all out and made these shoes, and unfortunately they haven't been accepted through FedEx yet. Like the
he'll get
guy's
it
been
tomorrow.
gone. No, they're not going to try again until Monday. So
so
he'll
okay.
get it. Hopefully he'll get it Monday. We'll find out what happens. It was just exciting.
No, but I've been
She'll love them.
I've been the go-between.
She has.
She's a very
Gaye Ann has
gracious
been
person.
The go-between.
No, I've been the go-between, passing messages that. Like,
And I'll tell you, I got a compliment from Ken, the publicist.
He's lovely too.
Yeah.
He said, "Wow." He said, "Oh my God, these are crazy incredible."
Well, you're
show him
crazy
other
talented.
Ones? Did you show
Yeah.
him other ones? Not
No,
Margaret's?
just the Margarets, and
show him other ones.
No,
Well,
you don't have.
the
No,
thing
no.
is-
That's being pushy.
Yeah, that's
aggressive and pushy.
No, but you just go,
Timing.
oh, here, look at
No,
that.
I didn't have
well-
to. I'm a publicist. What I did is I sent the picture of the shoes and Mara's Instagram account.
and for me,
Oh,
that,
there you go. Yeah.
for me, that compliment
Yeah.
meant everything to me. And I told him in the letter I wrote to both of them, I said that compliment put the fire under me. It just feels really great to be recognized for a talent. And yes, in my mind, successful to me would be if I were doing that and only that as a living. But I'm not. I have a day job.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You're on your
Yeah.
way.
I
You're
don't
doing the
know,
process.
yeah.
And I didn't mean pushy. I mean just like, oh, I love doing this and I do different designs. And like you said, you gave him the Instagram account.
He's
Just the
following me.
other
It was
ones.
very
Yeah.
nice of him. He didn't have to follow
Good
me.
for you.
That's all.
No, I I'll do my best for my little Mara, my
Yeah.
sister, if I can. But you do that. But you do it for. I mean, look, Sheena, you and I are similar, different but similar. We do for others,
Oh, yes, sure.
and I can't. You
So
know,
my fingers
you guys
bleed.
Support
Yeah.
we are
we are very supportive of people, and I think for me, it comes out of with no expectation.
Of course,
No.
me too.
And that's the difference. You know, you help and support people. You are not to have expectation. The minute you have expectation, you shouldn't be doing it. Then it's not coming from, you know, the very energy of positivity and love.
But I've learned not to overdo.
Correct.
And I have stopped myself in the last couple months in situations where I thought, oh, you know what would make this person's day? And I think, you know, no, you've done enough.
Yep.
Because sometimes if you overwhelm somebody with all of your love and joy, they get angry.
They get angry, but also I found people that don't have the chutzpah, don't have the energy, that those kind of people sometimes rely on stronger people.
Sure.
And, you know, I would always try and fix and try and help. And who the hell am I? I'm not God to fix or
Right,
help, you know? So I also do the same thing. I will give you a little, but then you move forward with it in the way that you do.
The impetus.
Because the problem is people start relying on you to do for them, and they have that expectation,
Right.
and you're really doing them a complete fucking disservice.
Right. They need to learn to do for themselves.
Yep.
You know, when I was working in news, I would help the interns on the caveat that they did the work. Be hungry, work overtime, do whatever you want. I will help you as much as I can. And with my colleagues, I didn't feel competitive, even though the news business is just so, especially in LA.
Ronnie,
I
what did you do with the news?
Well, in San Diego, I was a news reporter anchor,
Oh,
and then
you were, huh?
yeah,
I didn't
and then
even know that.
and then I came to, because of a man, I came to LA and I got into PR, and then I got sucked back into news, but at KFI, so it was radio. I discovered the mic. But the thing is, like Gaye Ann, I did not mind at all helping people when I thought of an opportunity. It's like, you know what, I know somebody, or you know what, why don't you go ask him for this? Ask him if you can work the story, whatever. Because I know you're going to get ahead on your own merits and in your own hard
Yes.
work.
Yes.
Forget if they want your help, great, up to a point, because you can't overhelp. But I'm not going to get ahead by not helping others.
I know, and your page on
course.
Facebook, the Fabulous Woman Over 40, and
Oh, thanks, the hub.
you know, everything, you are huge help to me, and I just love being surrounded by women that are you know, they want to cheer for you, they want to help you out, because they know that's
Because
what makes
I'm-
it fulfilling.
We're not going to get ahead by stepping on other people.
But this is the problem, and it is maybe stereotypical, but it is true, at least in my experiences. Women do not really help other women.
No.
They
There are
backbite.
some that
they'll-
do.
I'm not saying I'm not generalizing, saying
mostly.
every, but in a
Yeah.
lot of as you go up the corporate
Yeah,
ladder,
yeah.
it gets more cutthroat and more cutthroat. Where in a guy's world,
There's a bro club.
there's
right?
a bro club, and they will help them go catapult to the next level. And you know, until women really have solidarity,
Yeah.
Yes.
you know, and the same thing. I'll say it, the LGBT community.
Oh, don't even get me started with
Oh,
that
about
one.
like sticking their neck out for people, and
Even
helping them?
socially.
Oh, God.
It's awful.
The click. Don't let anyone
I-
in the click.
just here,
It's like
here
high
or
school.
It's like
nationwide?
Mean Girls.
I can only speak,
I can speak
for what
only
I
for-
No,
know.
it's everywhere.
and I refuse to engage anymore. I'm
I
out.
want to know,
Me
did you
too.
get any sense at all of LGBT when you were in Canada?
No, I work, and then I
You're
was
just
stuck in a
busy.
hotel doing COVID. I was COVIDing.
What'd you think of the housekeeping?
Didn't have any hot
The
female
housekeeping
in
was
the
lovely. You know, I always dreamed of not cooking and always ordering, you know,
She needed extra towels.
Uber Eats and shit
Exactly.
like that.
Nice.
I got to like after day 3 or day 4, I was like, oh, I just want a piece of fruit. I mean, it didn't even matter. I just wanted something that tasted natural as opposed to, you know, and the hotel, you know, it was a nice hotel. Thank God it had a fridge. It had a microwave.
I wondered why you were there for so long.
I drank so much coffee because they had that Keurig
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah.
I kept calling housekeeping. Hey, can I have about 6 more coffees? I'm like,
You must have been wired.
oh my God, I was maybe that was
my
the problem. I was
gosh.
going stir crazy because
Oh
I was
my
freaking
gosh.
wired.
Yeah,
and,
I think
and they
so.
put me by, and you know, look, the accommodations were lovely. They put me in a hotel by the airport, which was industrial. I did not have a car, so I actually did, you know. And for me, I think, and this was this was my thing, is there was, you know, you have to test 2 days in a row negative.
Yeah.
So it's always like the luck of the draw. You don't know. You wake up and go, please God, let it be negative.
Did you take any meds?
No.
No
I took Paxlovid.
I took Paxlovid, and within 24 hours, I was like a new person. I
Did
gotta
you have
tell you.
rebound? Did you have rebound?
Nope.
I did.
Okay, I was in Canada.
It's amazing.
I was in Canada, a whole other country.
so no.
I asked them for it, and the only thing the doctor was able to give me, because there was a lot of lessons learned, meaning take the
Don't
whole
get COVID
bottle.
in Canada.
Take the whole whenever you travel, take your whole bottle of fucking thyroid medication, not just the amount of days that you're going to be there.
Oh,
No,
you
it's
always
gonna
take
happen.
more because you never know.
I took about 3 extra, and I was panicked. The COVID came to like level number 2. Level number 1 is like, oh my God, I need my fucking thyroid medication. So I called CVS here, and I said,
They ship it to you?
Can it? No, nope, and nope. And then I said, can I speak to the pharmacist, please? And I talked to the I said, what if I just stop taking it for probably 6 days? She goes, that's not good.
Oh no.
So then I got on the whole call with production, who was like amazing. Whatever I wanted, they got me. They have a medic
Wow.
or a doctor that works with
nice.
this. So I call them, and I'm like, I need my thyroid medication. So my roommate was at the house, and she had to take a picture of my bottle, and I got it. But that was like the
I'm
biggest
sorry to hear that.
drama. For me, was like, oh my God, listen, I always bring extra underwear.
That's my worst fear because I dive and I'm trying to plan a dive trip for the fall, and I'm worried about getting stuck and either meds or something and not being able to have access to what I need.
Diving,
Yeah.
you said,
Scuba-
like under. Oh,
scuba diving.
Like your underpants are gonna fall off in the water.
No, but if I get sick
Like,
and I'm
where are you scuba diving?
I want to go to Roatan. I mean, I don't know, but if I'm in a foreign country and I'm diving and I get sick and I'm there for
Well, what's Roatan? I don't know.
it's off of Honduras.
Honduras. Okay.
So if I'm
Okay.
in a foreign country and I've already been there for 10 days and I'm stuck there for another 10, I'm going to be in trouble.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
that
Oh,
could
I
be
had a
an
mental
issue.
breakdown. I think I finally tested negative on day 7. Day 7 was number 1, and day 8 was number 2. And on day 8, I'm like, on 7, I'm like, make the reservation. Make the reservation.
You're like, I'm out.
Make the reservation. I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out of here. I was calling my company, the whole like COVID. I'm like, can you get me out of here? Like, I don't understand.
Call the car. I'll be ready.
Oh
I'm
no,
out.
I literally was like, I don't understand why I can't fly.
Are you
I
going, are
wanna
you going
know-
on the cruise?
What cruise?
Aren't you going on a cruise?
Oh,
In
I'm
the
not going
fall?
on a cruise.
No,
No,
I don't know. I don't know how. I don't
Thank
go
you.
cruises.
Nope.
I don't do cruises.
You were going
I'm
somewhere
going
in
to
the fall.
Montana in an RV, and then I'm going to Dominican Republic.
That's it.
Oh, DR
Also
will be
in an
really
RV?
nice.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Also in an RV.
No, in an RV.
yeah, floating RV
and I'm
to
not
the
swimming
DR.
because I don't know how
Yep.
to swim.
Longboat.
Yeah, right.
The big
They put
thing.
floaties on the
Yeah,
RV.
right. I
The
had to
big
buy those
thing,
things.
you guys, take your prescription medicine.
Yeah.
When my husband and I went to
Yeah.
Cuba, he got that thing that you get in Havana, the nosebleed. I swear to God, and we were by the embassy. They thought he was on drugs. It's like no, he's
no.
not on
Oh,
drugs.
God.
And then I thought, what if he does need his medication? We took our written prescriptions from the doctor.
I
because
wouldn't
if
mess
you're
with
caught,
Cuba.
If you're caught with medicine in your baggage and you don't have the prescription, you could be put in jail.
yeah, I
so
wouldn't mess
take
with
your
Cuba.
prescriptions, especially to Latin countries
Yeah,
and to the
I know.
Honduras.
I know. Yeah, I wouldn't
Well,
mess
I mean, yes. I mean, that's that never happened to me. I mean, I was like, look, you learn what you learn very quickly, very fast. And I guess I've
Well,
been
welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back, COVID free.
COVID free. Yay, I'm so happy. But let's go. I want to talk a little bit about Isabel, but I want to go really quickly through this, and then because I want to spend some time with Isabel.
Okay.
So, we've had 2 deaths recently, Anne Heche and Olivia Newton-John. And, obviously one has nothing to do with the other. But, Olivia Newton-John, she was, first of all, let me just say I knew her. She was exactly as sweet as, because everyone says, well, she's really nice. Yeah, she was. She was exactly who she portrayed publicly is who she was privately. And I was fortunate to meet her the first time, and it's on Facebook,
I saw that.
at LA Pride in 2008. And, a friend of mine, the booking person said, I said, he says, I think we can get Olivia Newton-John. I said, she's in if she'll do it. And it's her first Pride, which was like,
Oh, that's
wow.
very sweet.
So I said, yep. I don't care how many songs she sings, but this is the budget I have.
Amazing.
They can do the budget, then they're in. And I remember being at the board meeting. This was very funny, and a couple of people on the board came in, which shocked me. And I was so excited. Like whenever I used to book somebody that was big, I would like be so excited and like, can I talk first? Can I talk first?
Yeah.
Because I was just like, and I said, I'm so excited. We have Olivia Newton-John, and everybody was like, oh yeah, at the board meeting. And then a couple of people said, do you think she's a draw? And my retort back was, "Are you really a gay man? Are you really
Imposter.
a gay man? Because that is so ridiculous. You can go anywhere and just say sing Grease, and everybody and they go right into it. And she was just so wonderful, and I mean, it was like seriously like
and intelligent. I mean, she was.
It was a magic. It was really a magical night. It's sad because it was 2008. You know. So like the cell phone camera, all that stuff, things we didn't have GoPros. None of that was really, when you think about it, it's a while ago. The technology wasn't there. So I was like looking at shit on YouTube, and they were poor quality videos, but I had to post them. And we gave her the key to the city for Olivia Newton-John Day. And then I also work with, again, on Facebook, work with Terry Nunn from Berlin. And they wanted Terry, they were doing a gathering in honor of Olivia Newton-John. It was a nonprofit. And Terry, as she said on her Facebook page, she really wasn't a fan. And I'm thinking as her manager, publicist, I'm like, oh no, we got to do this. And she's like, oh, but I don't know. I said, just think about it. Just think about it. And she goes, well, I don't want to perform live. I said, well, you can't because we're going to be in the Red Rocks, doing a show. So we brainstormed, and I was working with Dave Navarro at the time on a TV show called Rockstar. And she said, I really want to do the song Magic. I listened to her I listened to all her songs, and that one resonated with me.
Love that song.
So I said, okay. So both of us were friends with Navarro, and she said it would be really good, if we could have Navarro. And then they met and they discussed that it was just going to be really unplugged. It was him at his studio with the guitar, and she just sang to the guitar. And I posted that video, and then we sent it to them, and they played it at this thing, and then Olivia, of course, saw it, and just, I think she called Terry. I don't remember. I know she called me. But she was, so anyway, that's a woman that has strength. I mean, that woman got diagnosed with breast cancer years ago. I had
no idea.
And, people were saying she was, how many times it was like, she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it. She's not gonna, and she kept pulling through.
And very bravely open about it.
Very.
Which was lovely.
Yes.
And very hard.
Yes. And I think, again, I didn't read about it, but I know it came back. But that's what happens with cancer. Unfortunately, it does. Sometimes it goes away, and sometimes it comes back and it goes away. But sometimes when it does come back, it comes back with the vengeance. So, that's a real, that day was really sad, I think, for
Very
the
sad.
industry.
Very
That
sad.
one hit me. That one hit
That,
me.
me too. I cried too.
No matter what, all the boys I knew in the 70s and 80s had crushes on
Of
her.
Yep.
course.
She was my girl crush. She was just it.
Yeah.
And I remember my college roommate, she was my sorority sister since freshman year. She, remember cassettes?
Yeah.
She would sit
Yes.
down her boombox and play Olivia Newton-John's, but the pretty ones, like, have you never been mellow? I can't say
Right.
what crap.
Yeah.
But all that stuff. And people used to make fun of her because she liked Olivia Newton-John. And I texted her the day that Olivia passed away. I'm like, I just thought of you. She's like, I know, I'm crying.
Yeah.
It's just, and you knew her. I didn't know her, but you could tell. Yeah, she's bona fide.
She was very wholesome.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
How could you not cry when they're showing all of her montage of things she's done, and she's singing "Hopelessly Devoted" and
yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's just.
Xanadu.
waving goodbye in the car with John Travolta, like so
heartbreaking.
hard.
I did like the song "Physical."
Well, me too.
That was
Remember
fun. That? Was a fun
that?
song. That
Oh.
was a fun song. But my heart goes out to her daughter and her family. And
so hard.
And then her manager, publicist, who was the conduit for her to be at Pride, Michael Caprio. They'd had a really long relationship. My heart goes out to him as well. So moving on to Anne Heche. Anybody want to start this?
It's a
Eyebrow
tough
raising.
one. It's a tough one.
It is really sad. I don't know, and I don't venture to say I know, but a lot of people immediately said, well, she was on drugs. You don't know her backstory. You don't know
Nope.
her story. You don't know her problems. People right away were like, well, she was crazy. She was kind of nuts. It's like, we don't know her story.
Yeah.
And regardless of what any problem anybody has, there's a lot of compassion there. There's a lot of sympathy.
Where's the humanity?
Yeah,
There's a
there's
lot of
such a
sympathy.
stigma in this country around mental illness.
Exactly.
And it's so embarrassing.
See,
I
and
mean,
that's
it's just
what we were talking
embarrassing. I
about.
don't know how else to say it. I mean, here's somebody who's like, wandering around in a field talking in an alien language at somebody's farmhouse years and years ago, and everybody's like, oh, haha, isn't she kooky?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's somebody who's like deeply has a problem.
Correct.
And apparently on her podcast, which I had not listened to, it was a lot of venting about bad days and bad moods. And, these folks that are quote unquote famous, right? They have all these people around them that are happy to take paychecks from them.
They're enablers.
But how are they not knowing that somebody who's literally crying out for help every day on a podcast has something wrong with
But
them?
it happens a lot. Whitney Houston, another perfect
Michael
example.
Jackson.
Yes,
Michael Jackson.
Right. Somebody
You know,
came and gave him the Merced
Robin
every
Williams.
I mean, Prince. You go down the laundry
Yeah.
list of people. Farrah Fawcett. You go down the laundry list of people who
I agree.
who died tragically, and after the fact, it's like, oh,
Robin Williams.
Robin
I
Williams.
said, yeah.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like you go down, and the cry for
Kate
help
Spade.
is there. The cry for help
Crazy.
is there, but like. People are like, I don't know why people don't. I don't know why people don't step up.
I commented to you before the show about the vitriol that I was reading on one of the public posts, in reference to her. And it really upset me because we weren't there. We don't know the details.
Yeah.
So what? The toxicology report, we don't know when, that was consumed, or what the status was.
But even if she did overdose,
it
or
doesn't
maybe
matter.
that had played a part.
Her
she
kids don't
had
have a mother.
problems.
That's what I
Yeah.
see,
You
and
know.
that's the thing that bothers me. I mean, a lot of people say, and I listen to it, and see, it's like, the people say suicide is selfish,
It is.
and I've heard that thrown around. It's always every time someone commits suicide, suicide is selfish. They don't understand, but one thing. And again, we're not clinicians here.
That's true.
One thing, because she's had a history
Right.
of this, there was something psychologically
Sure.
off. Whatever it was, don't know. But it's been there for a long time.
Well, and suicide is selfish. I mean, that's such a horrible thing to say. I was going to use a bunch of really bad words, and I decided to use horrible instead.
But you've never heard that?
Yes, I
Okay.
have, and I think, and the condemning of, well, she's not going to heaven, or all the weird spiritual
Yeah.
stuff, the
It's
religious
nonsense.
stuff, we're
Right.
so stuck up. Nobody knows what it's like to live inside somebody's
Correct.
head. And if your animal was in agony, you would put it to sleep, and you would understand why the animal wanted to die.
Right.
But if somebody's in agony every single day, who are we to judge? We're so judgy with people. Even people that are in physical agony and want to end their lives.
Right.
We're so judgy with them. And I think from a spiritual point of view, and that's where I always go, sorry, girls, how can you say you have any free will on this earth if you don't have the right to take your own life? So the idea is not, let's not judge them for doing it. Let's get them some help so they don't do it.
Correct.
Let's fix the problem before it gets that bad, and let them know somebody is here for them. And I understand that if that person is your boss, you don't want to make them mad because they might fire you and you don't get your paycheck. You don't want to suggest they go on a hiatus and get help for a year, because if they're not working, they're not making money to pay you. So it's like this cycle where these poor creative souls are in agony and no one is helping them.
Okay, but I have a different point of view, which is I agree with what you're saying, but I also have a different point of view of what could be behind some of these judgy comments of Anne and the people that are saying all this. Keep in mind that we don't know how many people have lost someone or been through something extremely traumatic at the hands of a drunk driver. And I myself lost a really good friend that was hit by a drunk driver. She was in her family decided to keep her in a coma, brain dead, for 10 years before they finally let her go. It was one of the most traumatic, horrible, horrific things I've ever seen. And so a lot of these people that might appear to be heartless and might appear to be judging Anne, you've got to keep in mind that you're asking them to feel sympathy for somebody in their mind that got in the car and whatever state she was in, whether she was speeding or just crazy, whatever it was, she hit something else first, and then she kept going, and she went through someone's house who she could have killed, and the dogs. And yes, it's like I feel horrible for Ann, and I think her family did the right thing to let her go right away. Thank God they didn't keep her alive. But it's also another thing when you try to ask people to have sympathy for reckless behavior, no matter what the cause.
Self-destructive behavior, there's no question.
Yeah.
Her legacy is tainted. It's sad and tragic any way you look at it. I don't think there's really any answers, whether it's
tragic all
self-destructive
around.
behavior that ended her life or whether it's someone that actually chooses to end their life through suicide.
See, I mean, I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, it's like I know she didn't get in the car and say, I'm going to crash into a house. I mean,
I think she lost control.
But maybe
I
she
think
thought
she
she was
lost
going to
control
kill
as well.
herself. She might have been planning to run her car into a tree or something and kill herself. It's a possibility. Her podcast conversation before was very much about bad days and why is there no help for bad days, and I mean, people who blame it on the drugs and the alcohol. I mean, you can't walk down the street without somebody speeding past you high on coke with a bottle of vodka in the passenger seat. It's Los Angeles. That doesn't really explain the high level of trauma that ensued.
I just think it's a very complex subject.
It is.
And when you ask people to feel sympathy for somebody that apparently looks like they caused it themselves, your heart is more like, well, in my case, I'll speak for myself. Thank God that she didn't kill someone when she was in that car and driving almost the whole way through the house, that she didn't kill the dogs and that woman. So it is, although I feel extremely badly for her, and the fact I'm still in shock that she's gone.
I am, yes.
I think it's also, I can't turn a blind eye at how deeply I will grieve on this, because she wasn't hit by someone like those poor people that were hit through that with that woman going through
In
the
Windsor Hills, that's what I was
intersection.
just gonna bring up.
She was not a victim, as far as she wasn't the one who got hit for no reason, like my friend Cheryl. So
No, it's sad all the way around. But even if Anne Heche did not have, I'm going to kill myself right now, she was in such agony and pain
She
from
was.
from we understand from the podcast and from just years of it,
Personal
that she
demons.
was medicating herself to numb herself from the pain. And that's the thing. We as a society have to stop denying it and have children be counseled and looked at and screened from elementary school. Why don't they get mental health checkups just like they do their teeth and their eyeballs and their bodies?
It
It should be normal.
kind of talked about, I think the very issue is that those childhood and young adult traumas, I believe, are what is leading to the mental health issues. And this is kind of a tough subject for me.
me too.
No, sweetie.
Me too.
It should be the norm to have you checked mentally and spiritually as you're growing up.
But you also know, I mean, look, I mean, I've known a few people that committed suicide.
We have a mutual friend
Yeah.
that we've talked about that it's going to be 6 months on the 20th. And a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, that took her life, and she had a substance abuse issue, and she did not die from that, but this is a trigger for me because of that loss. And she clearly had trauma from her childhood as an adult, some mental health issues, and there was no intervention there. And it's a very complex issue.
It is, absolutely. And a lot of people that I know that I had, personal dealings with, they are so good with hiding that pain.
Yeah.
That,
This
Right.
person was
vibrant.
and
she was on the show. She was a guest on our show. And, I was so shocked, because that would be like, but they're so used to, from whatever, medicating and putting a front, that when people go, oh, the warning signs were there. Like with Anne, there were warning signs,
Sure.
But with that person that we're talking about, at least for me, and I had numerous conversations. It was the days of Zoom, so we Zoomed, full of life. never detecting it. So, I know a lot of people sometimes feel guilty, where I knew this person, and I'm not talking about you, but
Clearly, given how close I was to her, I never saw it coming.
Exactly.
There's absolutely layers of how did I not see it? And I know people tell me, "Oh, Isabel, you need to let that go."
no.
It's going to be a long time,
You
and
don't
I
need
know
to
it's
do
not my
anything.
fault. I
Right.
know I'm not responsible for her choice, but it's something I am working through. But
But it's always the coulda, woulda, shoulda.
how did I
Sure.
not?
How did I not detect
I talked
that?
to her the day before, so it's like. Anyways, I just
I don't get it when people say you need to let that go. You don't need to do anything. You feel
No.
what you feel. You think what you think.
No.
Not wallow
First
in
of
it.
all,
but
no.
I used to, because I think I'm an authority on everything.
That's why it's your show.
Right. So, I used to approach people because I know everything. You should do this. You should do this. And one of my friends, she pointed out to me, she goes, I hate that word.
Yeah.
And it's, you can have a recommendation, but, or I would have.
I like that, a recommendation.
A recommendation. You can have a recommendation, but you don't tell someone they should do something. And it really made me, because for years I'm like, you should do this. Yeah. And also, my friends have come to me for advice and stuff. So you kind of get that hubris. You know what I mean? Oh, I think, okay, I'm the good one. I have all the answers, but I don't, but you think you do. And that is the ego. But it's the should that you have to take out. People need to accept your decisions, your thought processes. You don't have to agree, and that's why it's a beautiful thing. That
One
word.
of the biggest
Agree to disagree.
agree to disagree. One of the biggest ahas, the best thing that I ever realized was when I first went to Codependence Anonymous, and I originally went there to understand the alcoholic that that was my best friend. But one of the biggest aha moments was maybe I don't know what's best for my dad. Maybe I don't know what's best for her. Why do I think I know what's best for
That's a
others?
good
Like,
one.
even if it's logical that it would be best if somebody did this or that or stopped drinking or stopped doing that, it's still not. I don't know. I don't know
Because I
their
think
journey.
we think out of
No.
logic. I think we all process.
Yes.
And, things are like point blank pretty
but
logical.
we don't know.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you assess a situation, at least for me, I go to what's the logical thing to do. And then it's not till you think about it. Well, maybe that's logical for me.
Right.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what I would do.
Right.
But someone else, if someone asks you for advice, well, I always say this. I can only speak for me.
Yeah.
I can
Right,
only
my
say this
experience.
my existence, is what I would do. But do what you want.
And if it's unsolicited, you can always just invite them to, have you thought of this, this, and this? How about this? What do you think of it? How do you envision that? What does that look like for you? Let them think through it. I no longer say, do this. I no longer say, you should. I've really learned to say, I guess because of my profession, I invite you to think of this. What does that
Oh,
look
that's a
like?
good one, too.
What do you think of that? How does that feel? Think about it. You don't have to have the answers now.
Well, it's kind of like therapy. If you're in a therapist's office and they're telling you what to do,
Nope.
wrong
Get a new
therapist.
Yes.
Wrong. Your therapist shouldn't be saying don't do this and don't do that and don't do that. No, wrong therapist. That's no. That's that's a movie of the week
I've
waiting
had a
to
few
happen.
friends that would text me and they would be, and I don't talk to those people anymore.
But I would have
Yeah.
a friend that says, "Oh, my therapist said that I need to do this." I
Ah.
said, "Huh? No. Are you sure they said that? Because a therapist shouldn't tell you what to do. A therapist is
offer
there
suggestions.
suggestions
Yeah.
so you could come to your own decision, your own thought process, your own conclusion, because it's what works best for you."
But it's there's also a boundary issue, right? Because when somebody is mentally ill or when somebody has an out of control substance abuse problem, which is a form of a mental illness, they can come through your life and tear through it like
Oh, yeah.
a bolt of jagged glass. And you're allowed to say, I can't anymore.
Exactly.
what I
Even
had
though
to
it's
do.
so horrible and you don't want to do it. And sometimes they threaten to kill themselves. Sometimes they don't and then just do kill themselves.
Yep.
Sometimes they call you and cry and tell you they're in agony. And you can have so much empathy for them and so much sympathy for them. But ultimately, you have to take care of yourself.
Correct.
And you can't allow someone who is hurting, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
You can't allow someone who's hurting to tear up your life because they're not in a good space. You can only help as much as you can. But it's like,
But you
it's
are
like
not
trying to save the drowning man,
But
right?
it-
You can get drowned too.
right. But it's you are only responsible for yourself,
Yeah.
and that's hard for some of us.
Like every empath on
Yeah.
the earth. Sure.
It is difficult to see that situation
Yeah, absolutely.
like unfold in front of you, and you can't intervene, or you try, but it's taken you down. There has to be boundaries, but a point where you have to sit here and be at peace going, I am not responsible. Now, granted, that's different. Like if you're a mother and you've got
Right,
kids
right.
and your husband's a pedophile or your boyfriend,
Well,
that's
that's
different,
right,
disgusting. You
right.
should both die. But if
Wait a minute. You should die too? If your husband's
you
a
allow it.
Oh,
if you
okay.
allow it,
I
if
just
you
thought, like-
allow it,
I thought like if you find out, you instantly
no,
need
no,
to
no.
die?
They
Okay.
both need to be. The sanctions should be for both parents if
Sure.
the parents allowed it to happen. So that's a different situation.
Different
You are
situation.
responsible for your animals and you are responsible for your children.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then find other homes.
Yeah.
Okay? Do not keep that child or that animal in peril.
Yes.
But when you're an adult and you're talking about partners, friends, whatever, any other adult in your life that you really do not have a responsibility for, you have to really, you are not, you're only responsible for yourself.
I would definitely like to say that as a giver, we tend to be drawn to takers,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had
Oh,
to
yeah.
I had to work very hard to save myself because I saw that I was drowning.
You're being depleted.
And so if someone is finding themselves in that situation, give yourself that grace. It is okay.
It
I'm
is.
not telling you to abandon that person and not to give them a lifeline, but at some point you will go down with them, and you
Yep.
have to recognize that you have to stay afloat.
One of the
So-
hardest. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, so if you're listening to this and you're resonating with some of the things that we're sharing, know that it's okay.
It definitely is.
Saying no is okay.
Yes.
I lost my best friend a long time ago. She was my best friend for 16 years, right out of high school till we were about in our 33.
So just last year.
Yeah, right.
The age came up. Ding, 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 ding,
No,
ding,
no,
ding.
no. I'm sorry. I'm not minimizing what
This
you're
is now
sharing.
13 years ago when I lost her.
kidding.
But anyway, I tried to be there for her as much as I could. I went to Codependence Anonymous. I sat in on Al-Anon meetings. I tried to do what I could. I stopped talking to her. I went back. I was there for her, this and that and all that. But finally, I saw that I had a feeling, rather, I had a premonition that she was going to die. And it was like, I just knew she was going to die eventually. The way she was going in and out of rehab, in and out of getting arrested, anyone with a half a brain would realize, this is not working. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take rescuing her anymore. So I did say, the very last time I ever saw her, I said, I can't handle this. It's causing me a lot of anxiety. You've really, in my mind, I'm like, you've got to keep going into facilities and try to beat this. But I had to distance myself, and a year later, I got that call.
Brutal.
And I always go back to that day where I was forced to tell her, I have to walk away right
Because
now.
you have to do things for you. And that goes back to full circle. We have to take care of ourselves first.
right.
Period. And what you did. I mean, look,
Very brave.
I'm an altruist. I wouldn't do any of that. I wouldn't go to Al-Anon. I wouldn't try and
I've gone to those
understand it.
meetings.
I
understand.
I probably wouldn't have. I've never been in that situation. So I commend you. Trust me,
Thank
I
you.
commend you. I just get to a point. See, my whole thing is on a sliding scale too. If I really care about you, and I love you, I will go to that extra length.
Well, I did with her.
And that's what I mean. You know, I do have a sliding scale. Not that if I saw someone in jeopardy that I didn't know, I wouldn't try to, help. But the more that I care about someone, the more I get involved.
Because of the 12-step groups that I went to between Codependence, Anonymous, and Al-Anon. I even sat in on an AA meeting once just so that I could visit and see what they go through. The biggest lesson I ever learned, and it keeps coming because I keep meeting people that are addicts, but the biggest lesson I ever learned is that I am not here to save someone. I can't save someone, and it is not my responsibility or job. It's not to do with me. I can't do it. I don't care if that person is my sister, my father, a friend. I cannot save someone else.
But we're not supposed to.
Yeah, but I thought I could.
Everybody does.
Everybody thought
not
could.
everybody.
Well, not everybody.
Empaths usually feel that.
Yes.
We feel we can. It's we're the strong one. We see this the addictions, or we see it as kind of weak, that they lean on me. Lean on me. I'll help you. I'll help carry the weight.
There's this component there. Your dad was an alcoholic, right?
No, mine?
Didn't you say you went because of your dad?
No, I was just using that as an example. Nobody in my family has any addiction problems.
Okay, because
this was my best friend. But I said whether it's about the saving someone.
Okay,
if
okay.
it's my
I misunderstood.
father, my friends, whatever. I can't
But
save anyone.
the thing with you can't save them, not whether you're supposed to or not, is you cannot. It's impossible until in their brain they finally go, help.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit.
but
of
it's like
Lindsay,
help.
she tried to get help. She tried many times.
But you know what? Here's the issue. It's like an addict, any kind of addict, someone who's bulimic, anorexic, a cigarette smoker, a drug addict, an alcoholic, okay? Until they come to that decision on their own, no
Even
matter
then.
what, this is what they hear from us. Okay?
Yeah.
That is the bottom line.
You're
and
right.
when you go through that enough in your life, you feel bad. I feel bad. I feel bad when bad things happen to my friends. But you have to. That's how people grow. We're all here on a freaking journey. Every journey, every path is different. There are similarities, but my journey, even though Sheena and I may have the same kind of end goal of our journey, the way she's going to experience it and the way I'm going to experience it is going to be dichotomically different.
Sure. Right.
So it's kind of like you support each other.
Right.
But that's all you can do. You can give support until they're dragging you down. When they drag you down, they suck the energy and deplete you. That's when you have to kind of walk away. That's toxicity.
I had to give up the arguments, and this person didn't want to go to rehab, didn't want to go to AA, and the arguments, and no one really knew what was happening behind closed doors, and I just I couldn't convince her to go. I wanted it more than she did.
Exactly.
And
I mean, I don't know that exactly. I'm just saying.
but you understand.
Yeah,
it's like I can't go to the gym for that person. They have to go.
Correct.
She did not want to go to AA, and she was like, "No, I'm not going to stop drinking." Pouring out the bottles of alcohol and hide. I just couldn't do it anymore.
No. What's really sad is that my best friend Lindsay wanted to stop, and she went, and then she would relapse, and she'd go back again, and she wanted
Because
to.
at that point,
But she couldn't do it.
Did she really want to stop deep
Yes.
down in the seat of her brain, or did she want to
Well, you're
stop?
getting at the major question of alcoholism because it's a disease, and I don't know why some people are able to stop and why others, despite many, many tries, don't
I know
stop.
I know a lot. Trust me, in the lesbian community, there are a lot of
alcoholics. A lot.
And the ones that I'm friends with that have been successful for years, they didn't just go to AA meetings.
No.
They didn't stop drinking. They went to therapy.
Yeah.
Right.
And they worked on what the core
Yes,
issue
definitely.
was. And once, as they started to get better within themselves, they got more confident, which at the end gave them that light bulb that
Yeah,
they
I think
finally
you hit
said,
it, Dan.
I want to stop.
Yeah, I think you hit it. I think that, even if you know a dry drunk, they're still got all those problems unless they are willing to, to get to the bottom of it, which is I don't know that she ever
I'm sorry.
And many people.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
And
I
many
don't know
people,
if she did.
and many people who are drug addicts and alcoholics or substance abuse or any kind of addiction, they want to stop for you because they love you and they don't want you to leave them.
It's
but
temporary.
they don't. But deep down, it's like, but I need that. I need that fix. I need that.
Yeah, but it's
that
also in their
numbness.
brain.
Look, I just want to
Yeah.
say to the people out
It's
there,
a
you know,
disease.
look, none of us are clinical psychologists.
Right.
None of us are. This is
Right.
just this. Everything
Sure.
that we're talking about is just based on our experiences. And you know, if you're out there and you, in fact, personally are struggling, or you're with someone who is struggling, you know, go to counseling. You know, go to counseling. You know, like I said, this show, you know, when I have someone that, like, you know, has the degree, then fine. But, you know, we're just speaking about it just solely our personal experiences. There's no right or wrong answer. And so, you know, again, if anyone that you love is struggling with anything, you know, I'm a big proponent of therapy, you know, and
Or, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I totally just did.
yeah, as you usually do.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
go
on.
ahead. No, go ahead.
AA.com will put in your city and you
That's
can pull
what
up a
I was gonna
meeting.
say.
It's really
Yeah.
accessible.
Or not even AA. If you're not the drinker, it's
Sure,
Al-Anon.
sure.
You go to Al-Anon. That's for family and friends of alcoholics.
I mean, no
And
matter
you could feel
what the
less
problem
alone.
is, no matter what the problem is, you know, luckily we're in the age of internet and Google.
Yep.
You know, no matter how big or how small your town is, you know, there is help. There is help. Reach out. Just reach out. All right, moving on. Moving on. I just had to put that disclaimer there. What is it? What I have to, like? This is my opinion and my opinion only. So let's get now to something a little. We have a half an hour. Let's talk about you, Isabel. So, what do you do?
Well, that's a great question. I work in finance and I help people who find themselves struggling with debt. So I can talk to 100 people in a day all across the country.
Do you? I mean, obviously, I'm going to guess because I don't know. I'm going to guess that since COVID, you've been talking to a lot more people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I used to work in an office. Now I work from home. And it's really nice to have that opportunity. I've actually been working from home for a while. It's a little bit pre-COVID. But I provide personal loans, business loans, debt consolidations. And I have clients of, you know, various financial backgrounds that come to me looking for an exit plan because for obvious reasons, the past couple of years have been pretty crazy. And folks have really felt it financially. And they are over leveraged. You know, just in the second quarter, we've seen people just, you know, really increase their credit card debt by over $100 billion. You know, you asked me earlier, you know, are we in an inflation? Well, experts across the country can't even answer that. I'm not going to be able to answer that. But I can certainly tell you that, you know, yes, the feds are increasing, you know, rates, but that's going to slow. That is going to help the economy.
Well, we're in inflation. We just don't know yet if it's recession, not
That's
recession.
recession.
We're in the
Right.
recession, not recession.
Correct.
That's what I meant.
Correct. Correct. So, you know, the key is really, you know, how are Americans managing their money? And there obviously are variables, right? You know, cost of food and gas have gone up. So your money isn't going as far. So, you know, I would definitely tell folks, you know, clients call me, they don't even know what their gross monthly income is. And in my mind, I'm going, how do you not know what your gross monthly income is? So,
Well, for the mathematically challenged, I always go, what's the difference between net and gross?
Yeah.
What are they
right.
asking?
So
That's
just to
me.
clarify, you know, gross is before taxes. Net is after taxes. And they go, oh, you mean after I pay my bills? I'm like, no. Net is, you know,
It's that bottom line in the paycheck. It's like you are supposed to make $1,000 a week, but then you have 400. It's that low number.
I had to finally wrap my head around it with gross is like you throw the fishing net out there and have all this fish and then you lose all this and what's left in the net after taxes.
idea.
3
Yeah,
fish.
that's a
It's
great
3
visual.
fish.
It's 3
There
fish.
you go.
fish.
I have to think like a kindergartner.
Yeah,
Back to
I love
Sesame
that.
Street.
And nobody's Jesus Christ making them into 20.
So
If only.
we can take an easy number, right? A client will call me and they'll say, I make 5,000 gross, and my net is 4,000. It's probably more like maybe 41.25 or something like that. But let's just say 4,000 for an easy number. Okay, great. So I would suggest that you figure out what your expenses are. A lot of times, what are your expenses? I don't know. Well,
Amazon.
figure out.
Amazon.
We'll get to the credit cards. Victoria's Secret, Ulta. A client today, $7,900 on Ulta.
7,000.
Oh, come
900.
on.
I said to her, in a nice way, I see your makeup's important to you, Jane. What am I going to say
Yeah.
to her? I see that's your go-to card.
Wow, I feel better about myself just hearing that. My
I-
Victoria's Secret bill is only at $780 right now.
99-cent store. Tell her.
Yeah.
Jane,
I feel
we're
less
gonna-
trashy
we're
about
gonna-
hitting the Revlon counter at CVS now.
Jane, we're going to consolidate this Ulta card. That is not going to get you groceries for the kids. She does not want to give up that card. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But figure out what your budget is, and from there, then you can make those adjustments on the monthly basis to stay within your budget, and then you can figure out what you can save and what you can save for not just your savings account if you have one.
Yeah.
let's
That's
be real.
another one.
And then figure out what you can put into retirement. And if you don't have a retirement account, let's talk about that.
Yep.
Right? Fidelity, Charles Schwab, it doesn't matter. You can Google it. You can create one. It's not a big deal. Don't be afraid. If you can't, these are not big numbers. If you only have $100 a month, that's okay. Do $100 a month. You don't have to have $1,000 a month to start that account. Take that step. There are experts that will help you. It's not scary. They will work with you.
Yeah, but how much do we have to pay for an expert?
Oh no, it's all factored in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
it's like 0.31 cents per month. They'll factor in base. It's all factored into what you're paying. What is it like? It's
I'm
it's a
just saying I
nominal
don't
amount.
know
Save
what
you money.
I don't know what's if I wanted to work with a professional like you, how much I would have to pay.
So-
Because that's another expense.
But
But
she's
a
tax
very
write-off.
important
Aren't
one.
you a tax write-off
And
yourself?
that's Victoria's Secret you don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, less Victoria's
Your financial
Secret.
planner is a tax write-off, I found out.
It is. So I work for a company where we provide loans. So obviously the fee for the loan is built into the
Right.
loan, and the fee for the consolidation is built in to that monthly payment for the consolidation,
Okay.
and to the overall amount that you're paying back. So there isn't any out of pocket expense. But what we're talking about overall is, where are you financially and how can you get out? In full transparency, my clients that have 800 FICO scores are not calling me.
Right.
My clients are, third tier that have, 550, 625, 650,
Yep.
credits. I do have clients that have, 720, 740 FICOs that call me, and we get them that loan. But generally, my clients tend to have, a little bit more over leverage, not as strong a FICO score, or they have a great FICO score, but their utilization's at 92% and their debt to income is
So
really high.
pretty much people are living beyond their means.
Yes.
That's
Sure.
the bottom line. Now,
Yes.
I don't want to lump that in COVID because, there's
It's
a
a
lot
huge factor.
yeah, but but there also is like stuff that's not controllable to people. You know what I mean? Like they lost their job because of COVID.
COVID, yes.
So they have like a fourth.
They had to change their career because of COVID.
Right.
I was
you have
just
to
about
change
to
your
ask you
career.
about that.
So so you're living in a house that now you can't afford. You
Rents are skyrocketing.
skyrocket.
The average rent in New York is over $4,000 and going up. I don't understand how they can even how these property owners can even think that they can continue to raise the rents.
Well, because there's no sanctions or there's no cap. No one's coming in and putting a cap on this, saying, you know what, not right now.
Can you call them?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anybody to call. But it's sort of like they still buy. Again, like I said, my background. My father was a depression baby. He worked really hard, as did my mom, and they did this. I mean, he did the saving, she did the spending, but she had her own job too. His stuff, his money went for the house, her stuff went for whatever she wanted it to go to, which was usually, me. So I never complained. But with that they were polar opposites on how to plan financially. But, the wherewithal is, I took after my dad, and he wasn't cheap, but he lived beyond his. I mean, this is a man who didn't have to clip coupons to go to the market. I think he enjoyed that. But he used to, he said, why shouldn't, it's out there, why shouldn't I save some money? If it's out there, why not? I used to do the coupon. I still do the coupon thing. I like it. But, I look and see what I have. And I've always have that cushion because this is what I'm paying, but I have a cushion because inevitably, especially when you own a home.
Yes.
Inevitably, something breaks down and it's not $500. It's usually $5,000 and up.
Yeah.
So do I want to put it on a credit card with the interest rate because it has to be done, or do I save and I can pay it off?
Well, it depends. If you have the cash and you want the points, you can pay it off at the end of the month. Then it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'd love to ask you this: what about people who were not laid off because they work independently? They're self-employed.
1099.
And I feel like I was in what's that called? What's the show where they had to have babies for
baby boomers?
Handmaid's Tale?
Handmaid's Tale. I felt like I was
sure.
back at Handmaid's Tale because
Oh.
my husband and I want to get our home refinanced in the Valley. I work 3 gigs. I'm 1099 all the way, babe. They would not accept our refinance with the both of us. He's got a part-time job that he's had for 10 years now because in the media, more people have part-time jobs forever than full-timers because they don't get benefits, right? So we took me off the paper and he got the freaking loan, and I felt like, wait a minute, I bring just as much money as he does, but I don't have a W-2. That is just not fair. And I even told the bank, I said, I should really drop you as a bank because people like me, I was more angry about other people. People like me need a loan and they need refinancing. We're the ones that need it and you won't give us the loan. But people who don't need it, who have a W-2 and a safe job, you give them the loan? That makes no sense.
Yeah, it does. I agree. I think it does. I'll tell you why. Which is why I opted to have a job in a corporation to get that secure paycheck because I know how much I'm going to get in. People who 1099, especially in this business, you could work on a movie for 3 or 6 months, 3 months, and then not work for the rest of the year. So you're not secure. They can't guarantee that.
So I don't work in mortgages. However, my 1099 clients that call in for loans and that I'm working on their behalf to get it, really tough.
And they're the ones that need it, but if they can secure it, because I had enough assets, if they can secure it,
that's
why
different.
not? It's because I save. I'm like your dad. But the point is, so many Americans need help, and they get in more debt because no one will help them. It's a vicious circle.
I think this country has always favored people who worked for someone else over people who worked for themselves.
Agreed.
I think it's always been a problem. It's just the same way this country has always favored people who were legally married over people who live together and not legally married.
We push
it's an old school thing that stems back to the Puritans.
Sure, we like those norms.
Yep.
Right.
I would
we want
agree with
you
that.
should
But we
work
push
for someone else. Be a
entrepreneurship.
drone.
We push for entrepreneurship, and then we don't help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we push for metaphorically and allegorically for entrepreneurship. But what we really want you to do is go get a job somewhere and get a paycheck and sit at your desk.
Right.
I mean, these banks would have a nation full of, folks well into their senior years making payments, making high interest payments because that's how they make their money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So as we're paying down the debt and reducing your high debt ratios and getting you debt free, they're mailing you, loan and credit card opportunities. So I always, suggest to my clients or recommend to my clients, I say, John, be discerning. Don't go open up another 32 credit cards, because I look at my clients. I have clients that have 3 cards, and I have clients that have 32 open credit lines. And, I mean,
and stuff on every single one of them. I mean, I always find it funny because they offer me credit cards. I will only use American Express because I want to know. I have to keep track of how much I owe at the end of the month because it's very easy to get to use the Visas and the MasterCards
Right.
and accrue that debt and then go, oh shit. Oh shit. Where I use my American Express knowing that at the end of that month I better come up with that lump of money so
Yeah.
it keeps me keeps me in check.
Right.
Okay? But it's funny because there are friends of mine that don't make a lot of money. And we laugh about it because they'll get, the credit card pre-approved.
No,
and it's like, and I'm like, don't do it.
Yep.
Don't do it. I mean, I help one of my friends who has some debt and we play. So what we do is, this is what we do. I do it for her, or we do it. What we do is she'll have a credit card and let's say it's a 24%. Okay? I will find another credit card at 9 or 10% for 18 months or 24 months. We will then take that credit card, pay the big one off. She's still carrying the balance, but now more is going toward the principal than the interest.
Gaye Ann, you are a really nice person.
Now, is that the one that will go up though in a year? So you got to put in the calendar.
It depends. I do research to make
Yeah.
sure, like which one, because also I try and
Right?
find the ones that also have the lowest transfer
It's a good
rate.
deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to find the lowest transfer rate because it's either like 3% or whatever, the highest of the best.
She would be my client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she would call me and, we would have this conversation. There's no fee. I mean, it's a free consultation. We would go through that process. We've been talking a lot today about hardship, whether it's mental health, drug addiction or alcoholism and just personal struggle, right? Whether it's, here at home or across the country. And I talk to folks across the country. My clients come to me broken. These financial struggles impacts, marriage, the household, them personally. My clients are crying to me. So oftentimes I find that I'm obviously not a therapist, but I am telling them, you know what, John, this is going to be okay. I went through a divorce. It's going to be okay, John. You're 32 years old. You're going to get a fresh start. We're going to get you out of debt. You're going to meet somebody new. My son went to jail, had to get an attorney, whatever the story is. You know what? He's going to be all right. You're going to get ahead. She's used her retirement. She's working at Walmart. She lives in Kentucky. I mean, hard, tough stories.
They need something to hear.
And I'm living in LA going, in my mind going, oh, I want this and this and this. And she's living on $2,600 of gross income. And I'm thinking, I'm a schmuck, because.
Well, between that and really, let's talk about briefly the elderly. The elderly get shit.
They do.
On Social Security. Shit.
They do.
Shit. If they were lucky to have a pension, it's supplemental. But to get the better insurance, those supplemental plans, you have to pay for them. So you're in shit.
They're in a tough spot.
And that breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart.
That breaks my heart.
I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to go buy a $100 gift card and personally, secretly mail it out so they have money for groceries because I would get in trouble if they knew it was coming from me.
Well, and then EBT cards. Let's talk about EBT
or
cards.
yeah.
But I'll just tell you, EBT cards. I do have some people that I know that have EBT cards that I don't know how they got them. And then people that really need EBT cards don't get them. So the system is completely fractured.
Yeah.
And, people who have spent probably 50, 60, 40, whatever years paying into this fucking system. It is disgusting. It's a very rudimentary word, but it is disgusting that our elderly, after they've put in all this time, are disenfranchised. And, it's like they should be getting
the cost of living increase is
That's
nominal.
the thing. And Social Security gives them they give them a bonus. But I mean, I looked because I looked at my, I got the thing, your Social Security. So I looked at my Social Security. Let's say I want to retire at 60. Ain't going to happen. Want to retire
Gonna
at 60.
happen for me.
No, happen at 62. That still ain't going to happen. 65 seems promising, but not so much. I'm in that age bracket where for me, they encourage you to work till you're 2 years old.
But do you really want to retire and give it all up and the fabulousness?
I don't
and
particularly
flying
know if
here
I
and-
want to fucking work till I'm 72 years
God, I
old.
do.
Right?
I want to work
I'm
till I'm
not
102
sure.
years old.
I don't mind
'Cause you
working.
love your
Well, here's
man.
but you know what? That's the difference between working for a corporation.
Yeah.
Because in a corporation, I still have to ask for vacation and it has to be approved. So, that's the corporate world.
May I ask you-
but I am scared shitless. I've always been to go out on my own
yeah.
because it's like, I got
scary.
bills, I got shit to pay.
Who comes to you more, men or women, and who comes to you more, older people over 50 or under 50?
That's a great question. So I would say that there's probably a larger percentage of folks over 50 that are coming to me that are either in retirement or looking to retire, that have not managed their money and have a large number of debt in proportion to their income. So they're looking to retire and they've got $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of debt.
Like crap.
And they're like, I'm never going to pay this off, right? And the younger ones are just looking to refinance that high interest one main loan, but they don't qualify.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I'm just going to pay. I'm just going to keep paying on my own. And I'm like, okay.
And in general, do more women come to financial planners or men? Are more women coming to you?
I'd say it's about 50-50. Yeah, there's kind of an equal split. And in terms of professions as well, I have doctors, lawyers, vets, business owners, entrepreneurs, and then I have those folks again, in the Midwest that are working at Walmart, working at Home Depot. I'd say my most successful states, which is probably to be expected, are California, New York, and Florida. The folks in Florida are doing very well.
So I have one last question, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. Student loans. I mean, I'm not going. I don't have any. I was fortunate, but a lot of my friends that are my age still have them, and that's a big portion of money that they owe. Can you do debt consolidation with student
talk
loans?
about student loans.
But can you?
I don't have a very good relationship with student loans.
No, but can you?
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Oh, and one last thing. The second part, if you die before your student loan is paid, do you have to still pay that shit back?
Yeah, you gotta come back
Yeah,
from
you
heaven.
come
Well, but they can take it if you
The
have
family.
assets. Would they take
You
it
give
from
a sack
assets?
of coins to a cherub,
Yeah.
and they have to come every month and drop it off.
Okay.
The kids have to pay it unless they have no estate. You can contest it, I would suppose.
What a shit show.
Okay. Tell us about student loans.
If it's a personal student loan, okay, you can roll it in to a debt consolidation. If it is a government student loan, we cannot touch it. And I would say that 99%, 98% of the student loans are government student loans. So we have to look at the credit report and we have to determine what that is. So unfortunately, we can't. Most of them cannot. Some people, a very small amount of people, qualify for some of these programs because they either, work in an industry where it can be forgiven. I don't. I'm not so that's not an option. I will tell you, if you have a student loan, do not defer that student loan. It looks good, but 10 years later, that $15,000 loan is going to be $28,371. I'm just telling you that's what it's going to look like. So don't do that. Figure out a way to pay that off. So it's going to double. That interest is going to accrue, and it's going to double.
So the question, so the thing is, so could someone technically get like a personal loan for that $28,000, pay off that government thing, and then you can come in and figure out.
This is the thing. The government student loan, they're usually like 4.25, 5% interest. That personal loan, if you can beat that, great. But that personal loan is going to be 7, 8, 10, 12%.
Okay.
So you're actually better off making the payments on the student loan and getting rid of it.
Got it. Well, cool. Well, we just ended on a depressing note for those of you who have
Of all the
government
things we
student
talked
loans.
about
Yeah.
tonight, student loans was the most depressing.
Oh, boy. Sorry,
Sounds
guys.
sacrilegious.
So I want to thank you, Isabel, for coming all
Thank
this
you
way.
for
And
having
Sheena,
me.
My pleasure.
Next time you guys should carpool. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you finally in person.
Yes.
You're always welcome. I mean, if you're bored or you have something to say, you're always welcome to come on and
I would
grab
love
a
to.
seat at the table. And
This is never boring.
Yeah.
Love you, girls.
love you
Love
too. So
you.
thank you. Where can people find you? Do you have websites or anything like that you need to promote?
I am with Simple Path Financial, and
I'm
Simple
sorry, you
what?
said that too fast.
Soup out.
simplepathfinancial.com. And I think Tony put up my Instagram. If you message me, I'm more than happy to provide my personal information. I had some issues with,
Hacking.
and the kind of stalker, kind of things.
Everybody at this panel have been stalked.
Yeah,
I mean, we know that.
So I'm
Stalker,
careful
schmalker.
now about putting up my information.
But thank you very, very
Thank
much.
you.
Ronnie?
Well, I just want to ask you, will you help people if they only speak Spanish or that's their first language?
Actually, I have Spanish clients.
Good, because I know a lot of people in the Latin community, they're afraid to get financial help.
Oh yeah, I'm bilingual, so I help. In fact, I helped someone today that in Spanish. He was from Puerto Rico, so I helped him, and yeah, absolutely, I do both, and it's a little bit more challenging because they don't necessarily understand the contracts, but that's my job. So
Okay.
absolutely,
Good to know.
yes.
So, Ronnie,
yes.
where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn right now. I'm building my website and just look for Ronnie Lowe Life Coach, Ronnie, RONNIELO Life Coach. And I'm so happy to be back.
Good to have you back. Sheena.
I'm at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com. I'm a psychic medium, and I'm also a 28-year talk radio host. My shows are on Live Paranormal Radio Network and iHeartRadio.com, and my new talk shows on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network.
Very cool. Mara?
Well, my website's up and running, marashane.com. That's MARASHANE.com.
Hi. Tony, what do you got? What don't you have? What do you got?
You can find me right here on ubngo.com.
Tell them the good news. I mean, some of this, what's
Which one?
You got a couple, don't you?
So, yes, we got the LGBTQI Go network that's launched starting September 1st. UBN Go is going to be on Roku.
Wow. I got
I know.
Roku. Good.
So,
Nice.
yes, that's very exciting. And there's other good stuff coming up.
Bubbling under.
I know.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Believe it or not, we're going to be here next week. I don't know who's coming. I hope everybody
I'll be
comes
here.
I'll be
back.
here.
Oh, you want to come back? Okay, you can come in. Come on in. We can always pull an extra seat. We've all been vaxxed and boosted. I'm Gaye Ann Bruno. Thank you again for joining us on Between the Sheets podcast. We are back with a vengeance. We'll be on next week at 7 p.m. Pacific here on the United Broadcasting Network. Follow me on Instagram, QTE Brad. Eventually this show will go up on YouTube. It will go up, I promise. But I just want to say thank you. Again, just wrapping up really quickly, find a support group, a support group of friends. But they aren't here to facilitate or really help. It's always best to step outside yourself and speak to somebody neutral. Because, I do find that, when you go to your friends sometimes it's more emotional. So it's always best if you're having anything that you're handling, sometimes it's always okay to go to a therapist, and again, rule of thumb, if they tell you what to do, run. Okay. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next Friday here. I had to think Friday. Yeah. I think it's the 19th. I could be wrong, but please be safe, be well. And as always, namaste.
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 Bye.